Hi, Dad. Welcome back to Honest About Life. Thank you for giving us your time. And as I mentioned in the last episode, in this episode, I'd like to talk to you about something that I'm hearing more and more about in the news, imposter syndrome. And in the last episode, we talked about judgmentalism, people being, people, judging us, our worry about being judged, and what that keeps us from accomplishing. Well, there's this thing called imposter syndrome, and it's sort of an odd phenomenon in that I think it's always existed, but you hear about it more often from some of those top level leaders at different organizations and companies and politics, et cetera, where all of a sudden, uh, maybe being under the spotlight, being under the microscope, they feel like, gosh, maybe I really am not prepared to be in this position. Maybe I don't have the resume to give me the right to be here. You start asking questions like, what am I doing here? How did I get here? Do I really belong? And so, Dad, you mentioned in the last episode, sort of your first time being on the air. Did you ever have that feeling of, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into?
Yes,
Do I belong here?
totally. I mean, I did not think that I was supposed to be there. I mean, I literally, it was horrible. Um, yeah. So, and Andy, we should reiterate this. We are giving our perspective. It's what we realize or what we have learned, and this is our opinion. It's not an expert's opinion. It's our opinion. And those, you can take it for what you want. You can use it, hopefully, but it's our opinion. And I think we have some experience in dealing with our own failures and accomplishments, and dealing with trying to help others. So, but it's our opinion, and that's what it is. And I did, when I first started in weather, I didn't think I belonged there, but people kept on saying that, keep on trying. And that's helped me. I didn't tell myself that I was going to keep on trying, but they did help me by saying, yes, you should keep on trying. And I'm glad that they did, because I made it for a long time.
Yeah, I hope you understand that. I'm not suggesting that this was your situation. I think it only came to mind because I heard it recently, and it really gets us to thinking. Like, do we ever feel confident enough to sort of feel like we have a right to be where we are? And maybe that just gets to confidence level. Some people have more confidence, and that sort of feeling never creeps into their daily life, their daily routine. And it'll probably also, for some of those folks that are really in the upper, C-suite level positions, they've got a lot of help around them. So for them, it's about being a motivator. It's about being positive. It's about being a collaborator, and sort of a good team leader. Again, I hear about it, and I think, how many people collapse under the weight of feeling like they're not prepared to be in the role that they have found themselves in. And so, seeing as you and I are talking about this sort of thing in your life, and how you got to the point that you were in 40 plus years of doing meteorology, if you ever felt that way, like, do I really belong here? But weather is one of those things where it's entertaining. It's useful. It's useful.
I
It's
hope
useful.
it is, but yeah, yeah. You touched on some very good points there, Andy. I think the positivity is is hugely important, because once we start letting negative creep in, that that's very powerful. Negativity is more powerful than positivity, I believe, and that's where we have to kind of nip it in the bud. I do think that I had a lot of help and support. And nowadays with the COVID and all this stuff, and people getting back to work, doing jobs now, there were a lot of job openings because of the whole situation. And people are getting into positions that they may feel uncomfortable in. They may not feel like they're capable. But try, and let those other people help you. I think that's hard. A lot of times, especially for a new person coming in, they don't know who they should believe in, who they should trust, who they should allow to let into their life enough to give them that support that they're going to need. And the more that we gather support, the easier our path is.
Well said, Dad. Yeah, with the pandemic, and I don't mean to put a stamp on this video between us, but obviously we just went through a pretty significant time in everybody's life, the COVID and the pandemic. And you wonder where the workforce went. And for a lot of them, the workforce retired. They just said, you know what, my family's important to me, my health is important to me. I'm going to retire sooner than I thought I would. And so we lost a lot of that knowledge at the top, right? They retired out, and now, like you said, we've all shifted up in our responsibility levels. And some, I'm sure they found themselves at a level like, holy smokes, now what? So I appreciate that. On a lighter note, Dad, Carrie and I were watching some old 80s movies, and one of them was St. Elmo's Fire. And we'll end this episode with this. Okay. St. Elmo's Fire. What is the connection to meteorology? Have you ever heard that term in meteorology, St. Elmo's Fire?
Yes, I have. And I'll tell you what it is, and I've seen it. And I saw it in a prop plane that I was in and going through raindrops. And the prop, obviously spinning very rapidly, creates an electronic image around that prop. The prop begins to glow. And that's St. Elmo's Fire. Unfortunately, that can also cause problems with your instrumentation on your plane, depending on what kind of plane you have. But that St. Elmo's Fire, it's a negative, it's an electrical output that develops because of the fact that the blade is going through those raindrops. And it's an interesting phenomena. It scared me at first when I saw it. I wasn't flying the plane, but I was in a 2-seat aircraft, and I thought something was going to happen. It didn't. Our electronics on board did flicker off and back on, but it was just very interesting. If you've ever seen it, it's very interesting.
Well, it's remarkable. I'm glad you know what that is. I wasn't sure you did. We have, like I said, we happen to be watching the movie, and we're like, after we got through with the movie, we're like, what about St. Elmo is the name of the bar, but where's the fire? Right? He sort of expected the bar to burn down, but it didn't.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I explained it very well, but that's the way it was explained to me. And when I first saw it, I was scared. I was talking to the pilot. He wasn't scared at all. And even though the electronics went down completely black, we didn't have anything, but it was only lasted about 15 seconds and it all came back on.
It must have been an interesting sight that you saw.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Dad. So we'll end the episode with that. The next one, let's talk about competitiveness. I know that you've always been very competitive, and you tried a lot of different sports. And let's talk about the role in your life of being competitive. So thank you so much, Dad, for this episode.
Thanks, Bill.
Look forward to seeing you.
A lot of fun.
Bye.
Yeah.